Hi everyone, welcome to another pick a card video on my channel. My name is Julie Ann Fay and I'm a certified angel card reader and professional astrologer. On this channel, I do pick a card videos around the time of the new and full moons. So I'm a little bit belated with this one because I'm actually recording this the day of the full moon and Sag eclipse. I tried to record this video for you guys last night, but there was like technical issues and it didn't download properly. Slash cut out. Very frustrating. I don't know about you all, but as far as I'm concerned, this Mercury retrograde has already started. It technically doesn't start until this weekend, but I've had so much stuff going on that's Merc retro-ish in the past couple of days and even into last week. So I am definitely feeling the pre-shadow of this Merc retro Omega. And this full moon in Sag has also been really affecting me. So I am excited though to be in a space to bring this to you guys again. So it's kind of a rare pick a card. If this is your first pick a card video from me, normally I do actually take a pause break to pull the cards and then come back. But in this case, I've actually already got the piles already set up because like I said, I did this last night and it didn't work out, so I'm redoing it. But we're gonna get into it. So this full moon, what can I say? You know, as is always the case, well, number one, my Astro Fairy members who are my monthly members in astrology, and I also have Fearlessly Fairies, which is my monthly card memberships. I really encourage you guys to go back and re-listen to what I talked about for the astro chart for this full moon, and also with Fearlessly Fairy to tune into what was there for this week, because there is a lot going on. And you know, there's a lot of mutable energy about, because this is a full moon in Sagittarius, which is mutable fire, and then we have so much energy in Gemini, which is mutable air. Okay, so there's a lot of fire and a lot of air. You might be getting into even like heated conversations with people at times, or like tricky things with communications, because Gemini and Sag are both on the axis of information. They just relate to it from different angles. And you know, we also have Jupiter in early Pisces, which technically squares actually the place where the full moon was at, because it was at, I believe, around 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's moon square Jupiter, which inflates that energy all the more. But because Jupiter is in Pisces for a short bit, this is water-based energy. So we have fire, water, and air. We have basically Earth is not being represented here. So if you're a Virgo, a really strong Virgo like myself, you're really feeling very left out in that equation. And in general, we need Earth, right? Because we need that groundedness. We need that ability to go beyond just communicating and get into actual physical, tangible results, which, to be honest, is going to be a little bit hard to get right now. I've been trying to do some just like get real surrender work with myself lately, to be like, you want answers to these certain things, but you might not really get them right now because we're approaching a Mercury retrograde. So this is a more optimal time to actually be revisiting things that maybe you neglected from the past, or, you know, starting continuation of projects that you started before the Mercury retrograde officially begins this weekend. So I've actually been putting in like almost extra energy lately to try and just like get certain things queued up so that it'll be even more in alignment when I come back to them next week and in the following weeks, because I've kind of already started that thread of it. So there is a lot to manage here. You know, it's always tricky when we're in eclipse season. That's always going to bring in change and unpredictable energy and unpredictable events. But then when we add that mutability to it, it gives it this ability to shift and change very quickly. So it can bring in even more change on top of the change that eclipses bring in, right? I want to mention that I'm doing a special offering for Jupiter in Pisces, which I'm calling a Jupiter in Pisces Quickie. And those of you that are on my email newsletter list, which if you're not, I highly recommend that you do join that, because you'll get all the latest in my special offerings, my latest blog posts, the pick a card videos, everything gets alerted in that email newsletter. And sometimes I also do special things for email newsletter people. There was actually a raffle winning chance that I introduced in my email newsletter in the last one, and those winners have since been picked, so congratulations. And I will be running that again, so make sure you're checking those email newsletters for that. But yeah, so the Jupiter and Pisces quickie, you can find it on my Etsy shop for sale. It's not actually listed on my website right now, so the best place would be to go look on Etsy, but certainly you can email me and we can coordinate it through there as well. And in fact, I actually get to readings faster as a general rule if we coordinate it via email, because with Etsy I do have to, there's some things involved, processing and such, so I usually have to wait before I can even get started on those readings. But Etsy is a wonderful place to go, and if you just like know, like, yeah, I want to purchase this and I want to get in the queue for that, you can do it that way. And you can also learn a lot about what the readings are for my Etsy shop. So I wanted to mention that, and the Jupiter and Pisces readings will function much like my customized moon reports, which are a very popular offering that I do, and they will be sent as a recorded audio. I'm also going to do some card pulls for you, and it's a very kind of like bite-sized, manageable way to get like transit updates about this next kind of 2.5 month period here. And in some ways you'll also get a heads up about the beginning of next year because of that, because Jupiter will move into Pisces, but then it will retrograde back into Aquarius and then revisit, entering those first couple degrees of Pisces at the very end of this year and then moving forward into next year. And I do have a blog post that I've written about Jupiter and Pisces, so check that out on my blog, which should be linked down below. And then I've also got another blog post up about spirit time and surrendering to the divine plan, which is very appropriate for this full moon in Sag vibe. So I highly recommend checking that out. And I know that came up when I was recording some of this yesterday and it didn't work out. So we'll see what kind of comes through again. As is always the case when I am, you know, being of service to kind of channel, you know, messages from source and the divine, I never know exactly what's going to come through. So it's very possible that these card pulls that I kind of, you know, spoke about in a certain way yesterday, there might be a fresh look at them today as I'm redoing them. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, I want to just do a shout out to the decks that I'm using, as I always like to give credit where it's due. So I have Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray, which actually this deck and this one, which I featured in this pick a card, I am actually looking to sell and or swap. So if you're interested in these decks, they're pretty much like new. This one does have a scratch on the box, but otherwise the cards are super duper like new, very well loved. Please hit me up via email, or you can DM me on Insta. And we can discuss if you're interested in buying them off of me, and or if you have something really tasty or juicy that you want to do as a swap, hit me up and I'm happy to explore that. So Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray, and then the Magdalene Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. Also, I always like to do a shout out to Roxx Polish, who makes crystal infused nail polish. I love her work so much. You can find her on Etsy. And I do actually have a coupon code, which is linked in my Julianne Phase Eco Fairy Guide blog post. And sometimes I do link the coupon code right in the description of this video. But definitely check her out. If you use my code, it gives you a little discount, and it also helps me earn perks and supports both of our businesses. So it's a win-win. And tonight I'm actually wearing the Blue Chalcedony one. So for communication. I'm also working with Magical Mermaids and Dolphins by Dorian Virtue. I said her full name. Usually I just say DV, those of you that watch regularly on my pick a cards. And then Heal Yourself Reading cards by Ina Segal. Okay. I also will be pulling from my Bits and Bobs jar, which includes a lot of things that are mostly astro related, but some other randoms. And I actually did put those back in. So those will be fresh pulls for this pick a card. And I actually want to fix one quick thing, so I will BRB. Okay, so I'm sorry if you guys hear like this weird robo voice that might be saying about recordings going on or off. Another Merc Retro thing is that my old webcam, which I usually use for these videos, is not working, but luckily I have a backup webcam. Like a good Virgo, I am prepared, but this one is different. So I'm noticing it does have some different nuances when I record my videos. You might notice a little bit of differences there. But without further ado, let's get into the pile pick portion. Okay, so we have 3 piles. As always, I encourage you to take a few moments to take a couple deep breaths. And allow yourself to just get to a more centered place. If you are in a very angry or emotional energy, I really encourage you to pause this video and come back to this at a later time when you're a bit more neutral, okay? Because we always want to be doing pick a card videos and even just card pulls for yourself, to be honest, from a place of neutral, open, and receptive energy. If we're doing it from a very angsty, like tell me now kind of energy, it never goes well, okay? Even myself, when I try to pull cards for myself or watching pick a card videos, I can attest to this, that it's not gonna work as you think it's gonna work. So I really do encourage you to reapproach this from a calm place if it's like just not the right time. And you can go about picking a card and picking a pile in many ways. I like to use my hand, as you know, because we have chakras in the palm of our hand. So you can use your hand up to the screen and feel the energy of that pile and see if it resonates. Sometimes you just get this like full body sense of like, this is my pile. Sometimes you hear it. Sometimes you can even like clairvoyantly even see it circled in your mind's eye. There's many different ways that your intuition can speak to you, and that's why pick a card videos are so cool, because it gives us an opportunity to actually listen to and work with our intuition, you know. So without further ado, this is pile 1. Now, as a reminder, the cards are going to look the same from the back, so you're tuning into the energetic frequency of what this pile is like, and if your intuition / higher self wants you to connect with it. All right, so that is the energy of pile 1. This is the energy of pile 2. And this is the energy of pile 3. Okay, and then I'm going to attempt to hold these up all together for you guys. So we've got pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3 here. Okay, so pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. All right. I also want to do a shout out, just particular crystals that I've been working with and feeling called to work with recently, which might help you out as well. So I have been working with my blue calcite, which is really good for the throat chakra and communication, also bringing in calm, peaceful, soothing energy. I've also been working with my garnet, which is a wonderful crystal for super grounding root chakra work, which, like I said, all of us are kind of needing right now with these mutable energy vibes, like on overdrive. And then I've been kind of interspersing at times also ruby and, you know, other specific heart chakra crystals. So as you feel called, you know, see if you feel inclined to kind of integrate some of these energies. And I just actually intuitively place those crystals next to the 3 piles. So we'll see how that kind of works its way into the readings. So with that being said, I'm going to roll into pile 1, and you can use the timestamps down below to navigate to your specific pile and where you need to go. So see you there. All right, pile 1 peeps. These are the cards for you. Let's get into it. So sadly, I'm not seeing these for the first time like I usually would be, which is a bummer. You know, usually when I do the pile picks, I get to be surprised at the same time you guys do, but I'm going to allow myself to just open up to the messages that want to come through here, if there's any changes or kind of variations from what I, like I said, channeled yesterday and am redoing now. And I'm also going to pull from the bits and bobs jar, because that might spice things up a little bit. Okay. All right, so for you guys, I had placed the ruby, such a beautiful crystal. I had placed the ruby palm stone next to your pile. So this is a lot about heart chakra work, but whenever I think of ruby, because it's a denser red, I actually think of ruby as really supportive for the heart, but also the root chakra, okay? And there might be this sense with you guys, pile number one, where you feel a little bit out to sea, okay? Because we do have Neptune here, and we also have the energy of the Hanged Man, which is about feeling like you're a little bit, oh, I forgot to actually do a shout out to her cards that I'm also doing. These cards are from the Journey into the Hidden Realm, which is a new tarot deck that I got by Barbara Moore, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so in love with this deck. These cards are actually intended to be done. The artistry is very emotional, so the artwork is intended to actually convey emotions of what you could expect to be feeling, sensing, etc. through the energy of the cards. So I love it because it's a very super artistic interpretation of the tarot through the water element and feelings. And as most of you that have been following me for a while know, I really do reject like traditional tarot decks. I love all of the other reinvented versions and other variations of it. Although I have respect for like the basics of the tarot, I just personally have never vibed with the Rider-Waite one, and perhaps may never get it ever, to be honest. But this could also be because I started with oracle cards. I'm a certified angel card reader. So I started with oracle cards and then went to tarot. So it's just my style. But yeah, I did want to do a shout out about what these cards are, because I did forget to do that. So yeah, there is this energy here of feeling like I don't really know what's going down. You know, I kind of have to surrender and acknowledge these delays, blocks, frustrations, this change in perspective. I'm almost like, in a sense, forced into this change of perspective because I have to practice this Neptunian energy, which is about letting go, you know. And we do have Dark Moon Lilith here, which is saying that there might be this angst, there might be this kind of like repressed emotional energy, because Lilith does relate to repressed feelings like shame and sometimes even guilt, and also repressed sexuality. As well as the right use of power and emotional power and our sexuality within and of ourselves and involving other people. So I'm wondering too if you might have gone through things where there have been power struggles, and now you're like, you know what, I just need to approach things from a very intuitive place, a very surrendered place, and if it's taking people a long time to get back to me, I'm just going to surrender to that. I'm not going to force my energy upon people or things. I'm going to try my best to go with the flow here, you know. And in fact, you do have letting go. Okay, so there is this energy of like, what is it that I'm too fixated on that I need to kind of release and get into a better flow about? And you also have Oracle, wait for important information. So again, it's like this message of surrender, wait, pause, allow things to go at the rhythm they want to go, right? So this is like two energies of kind of like wait, connect with the divine, and actually three here because we've got Neptune, which is about connecting with the divine and like spirituality, right? So there is this energy here of like, maybe you thought that you were in super control of the situation, and now you realize, like perhaps astrologically or whatever it is, that you know what, I've got to just surrender here. As much as I don't want to slow it down or give up on certain things, I need to maybe loosen my grip a little bit and maybe detach and not be so hyper focused on putting my energy into this. It's interesting because, you know, with this card, we could see that she looks very sad and forlorn about the fact that she's letting go. You know, like her facial expression is not very happy, right? But in the background, you could see that there's almost like this death energy, right? There has been things that she's seen and that she's confronted. It's almost like she's been in that graveyard. She's confronted those deep wounds, that deep emotional healing, and she acknowledges that she has to now change course. She has to move in a new direction here, okay? Because it's almost like these things that she saw now cannot be unseen, and the only choice really is to move forward. But I think the issue is that you might have this eagerness to move forward, but there's still this sense of like not having all the answers or the pieces put together. And this is because perhaps it's a journey. Sagittarius teaches us it's a journey, right? And for you guys especially, it'd be really helpful for you to listen to that, or read, I should say, that blog post that I wrote about spirit time and surrendering to the divine plan, because this is a lot about the need to surrender. So it might be that you've said, okay, I'm going to now move in this other direction. I've got kind of like, I've had that tower moment. I've witnessed what this change needs to be. I witnessed what these wounds are. I'm really ready to move in a new direction now. But it's like, you get this download of like, yes, I'm ready to move in this new direction, and like you want to put your energy into it, but then you're quickly forced with wait, surrender, connect with the divine, allow the delays, etc. So this could be challenging because you could be like having this energy, this willingness of like, yes, I want to go forward, and then all of a sudden there's kind of blocks and obstacles on that new path. But this doesn't mean that this new path isn't right for you. It's partially just surrendering to the energy of what's present at the time, you know, cycles and rhythms of life. And we do have drum, dream, and journey. Okay, so this might be a really important time for you to connect with your guides, spirit guides, you know, power animals, totem animals. If you can go to a drum journey, I highly recommend to do so. I've been to some when I lived in Chicago, and they were so amazing. I love them so, so much. And you know, it definitely will help you connect with Fae energy and more of the earth element. And I find that drum circles, you know, obviously it's more shamanic, so it brings in literally drums, and it's just so juicy and so sensual and so grounding. It's very, very different than like crystal singing bowl meditation or gong baths, where actually that is like the opposite. It's like you're trying to connect with the divine and like surrender into all that is. Drum journeys are really different. They're very like earthy, sensual, grounding. I've found in drum journeys that I get very clear visions when I go on drum journeys, and I also communicate with my guides in like really powerful ways. And by the way, this type of thing is very Saggy too, okay? So there might be something here where it's like in this slight delay slash wait period, part of that space that's opening up through the delays is allowing you to connect more with the divine and your guides, you know, because you have friendship here. So it's like, it does say here, make a date for a play date with one or more friends. So it might be that your guides are like, hey, you haven't been spending as much time, you know, you haven't been, hold on one second. You haven't been spending as much time talking to your spirit guides, perhaps talking to your angels. But with this drum journey card, this is especially spirit guides, okay, and power animals, totem animals, working with the natural world as well, working with the fae, working with tree magic, okay. So it's like, take this time to reconnect to nature, take this time to explore some Sagittarian things, right? Like, see if you can go on a drum journey in person, or there's plenty that you can do now virtually. See what you can do here to connect with your guides, because it's almost like, I'm really drawn to the words there, you know, make a date for play. It's like you need to approach this from a playful attitude, you know, and it could be that you were trying to like push or force the situation before, and you realize like, yeah, that's not going to work. That way is kind of dying now. I have to let go of this old way that I was approaching the situation and now explore it in a new way. But you might need some support and some guidance here about, you know, what are the right next steps to get that moving forward, okay? And then we do have love that came up in reverse, and the lovers in reversed as well. So for some of you, this is like extremely clear that this message is that you were trying to put this energy into manifesting this love relationship. You know, maybe you were like really into someone and you were putting your energy into it, and you realized like, you know what, I'm not actually getting back in return what I should be. And I think sadly, perhaps after having maybe like a dark night of the soul about it or something, I need to actually walk away from that. I need to let that go, you know. So you're recognizing like, that's not the right union for me, and there's almost like a lack of love there, Now, this could apply certainly to dating, romance, relationships, but this can also be about other things we're trying to manifest a union with. For example, a job or a housing deal, right? Or like a book deal or a business deal or a project of some sort. This could have many iterations of, you know, trying to manifest some type of union. Okay, so for some of you, it could absolutely be about love, but for others of you, it could be about other forms of partnership and union. Okay. So that is what I have for you, pile one peeps. I feel a little like I'm gonna pull one more card because I just feel like it. Nope, almost had it. Okay, we have Magic Guardian, unlock the magic within. So yeah, I think this is like a dominant message, is that you are being pushed into this slight surrender period just for right now. And this is causing you to re-access kind of like your personal power and your inner fire. And this is why things like drum journeys and connecting with spirit guides and animal totems could be really helpful for you, you know, because you need to kind of like re-access this level of personal power, and maybe they can give you guidance on how to do that, you know. And it could be that maybe some of your life force or personal power feels somewhat drained because you did put a lot of energy into this person, place, or thing. It didn't work out. You're getting like, you got the messages of like, this is not in alignment, and you need to let go. So it's like you confronted that more kind of watery emotional piece of the story, and now you feel like maybe your fire is a little bit dimmed or a little bit drained. So you need to kind of work on building back up your fire, okay? Which the next 2 weeks, where we're integrating this full moon in Sagittarius, will be very powerful for you to integrate that fire, because as I like to always remind people, it does take us 2 weeks to fully receive and integrate the cycle of what that new full moon is about, okay? So that's what I have for you, pile one peeps. Please give this video a like, drop a comment below, let me know how that resonated with you. I love, love, love to come back to my channel and see positive, supportive comments that you guys have left, just talking about how you resonated with the pile, or even just how you found me. And it helps me so much to want to come back and record more readings. And I just love seeing how you guys relate to the messages. So please do that. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. All of these things in combination, they really do help support my channel. I also do accept donations. There's a link in PayPal there if you'd like to drop a donation. And of course, I do private readings in cards as well as astrology, and then I have offerings that combine the two. So you can check out more about that on my website, julianfay.com, as well as on my Etsy shop. Much love to you, pile one peeps. Okay, pile two peeps, let's get into your messages. So these are the cards for you. Now, I forgot to mention, so I'm unfortunately gonna have to mention this for every pile, but there's another deck that I'm using, which is a new deck that I got, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It's called Journey into the Hidden Realm, and this is by Barbara Moore. And I love, love, love this deck because the artistry in the cards is done to actually invoke very specific feelings and emotions through the artwork. So it's a very feelings-based approach to the tarot. And as I was telling pile one peeps, you know, most of you have figured out by now, especially if you've been following me from the beginning, that I really do reject the traditional Rider-Waite tarot system. So I always love to be, you know, working in other variations of tarot, but keeping true to, you know, the respect of what the archetypes mean, but having varying types of decks that are in tarot. And yeah, I'm just a rebel in that way. I really don't like to use the traditional tarot deck. But this is one that I'm really excited I got recently after a long wait, and I'm really excited to be working with. So shout out to that one. So pile two peeps, let's get into your cards. And as I mentioned, sadly, I'm not looking at these for the first time because I already did this yesterday and I'm redoing it. But I am going to see if I have the urge to kind of channel the messages in a new or different way. I'm going to actually pick from my Bits and Bobs jar over here, just to kind of spice things up. So pile 2 peeps, just intuitively, I had placed certain crystals by certain piles, and the crystal I had by your pile was actually my blue calcite. So this could be a strong message here about throat chakra healing and communication and communicating with peacefulness and love. And interestingly, from the bits and bobs jar, you got 3rd house. Okay, so that is the house of Gemini, which is all about communication. Okay, and then it's interesting. So this is a little strip of paper that I have in combination with others, which is like my yes, no. So we have somewhere else. Okay, so there might be something that you're thinking of where you were like, yeah, I thought that that was like the one, or that I was going to align with that thing and it didn't work out. This is saying that it's somewhere else. There's someone else, there's somewhere else, there's something else. Okay, and it's interesting because you guys do have explore your options. So this is saying that you haven't actually seen or assessed all of the possibilities here. There's actually more that you will explore with this. There's like more people that you can meet. There's more people that you can date. There's more houses that you have yet to see, right? Like whatever it is you're trying to manifest, if it's a new partner, a new house, a new book deal, you know, a new job, it's like you actually haven't seen or been introduced to all of the potentials here yet. There's actually like more coming. Okay, sometimes Mercury retrograde can cause us to do an about face and to actually look at things that maybe we neglected or overlooked already. So it could be that it's something that you kind of were introduced to but you didn't take seriously, and now you're kind of circling back around to it with this Merc retro vibe. But I think whatever it is, the best way for you to get into a good kind of receptive state with this is to really practice, you know, well, okay, so we'll go with it and then I'll see if I change my mind. So to practice this energy here of acceptance, okay, and then we do also have Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times. So interesting messages. They're different, but they have a little bit of a similar theme, right? So for me, this Spirit Fox one is saying that trust yourself, that if you're exploring your options and you kind of turn down a particular person or option, trust yourself that there's more better for you. Because anytime that we tell the universe like no to that, basically we're saying no, that's not in alignment with my energy. I'm not putting energy into this thing, this person, this whatever. I need to be over here with it. So I'm going to work on going over here with it instead. And I'm going to see if I could gain momentum over here. But sometimes in that process of needing to reject something or turn something down or like look elsewhere, we can feel that guilt and that shame of like, oh, like I don't like that I had to say no to that. But it's because you intuitively know that there's something not right about it for you, that that person's not right about it. Person's not right for you, or whatever that might be, right? So trust yourself through this process of exploring your options, okay? Which might be, you know, Sagittarius energy, because it's mutable fire, can be like very all over the place, like, and also the Gemini vibes. Again, there's so much mutable energy because it's Sag, Gemini, and Pisces that are really prominent in the astrology right now. So there could be a lot of like, you know, you're searching here one day, then you're searching here one day, like you're communicating here, and then adding in the Merc retro with that on top of everything. It's like you might be thinking I'm talking to this person on this day, like then it changes and all of that. So there's a lot of exploring options here, and you need to really be connected to your intuition and in this state of acceptance about yourself as a powerful intuitive being to make the right decisions for yourself. So I interpret this acceptance card to be like, be connected to your emotions. Okay, the water element here. What do your feelings tell you about this person, place, or thing? Do they tell you that they want to explore it? Or do they kind of tighten up? You know, you can do the body test when it comes to stuff. So, you know, I've been practicing this technique that I learned about from my Abraham Hicks, one of my Abraham Hicks books, which is which feels better. And you could write this out in a journal, or you could test it in your body. So which feels better? Think of option 1. Feel that in your body. I'm thinking of something, feeling tension. So I feel tightness in my heart and in my stomach. And then which feels better? Option 1, which is that, or option 2. Okay, so with option 2, I still feel like a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of tightness, but it feels a little bit lesser than what the other one was. So you want to pay attention to like the subtle differences. Sometimes the difference is not very obvious. So that might mean that it's not the right time to make that decision, okay? Because they're almost at like the same frequency. So it's like you don't have enough information yet to help you swing one way or the other. And that can happen, and you have to respect that and not try to force yourself into one or the other. So like in my case, I need to respect the fact that there was tightness and tension about option 1. So my body test is saying like, but for option 2, there's still a little bit there that's kind of tense. So that tells me that there's still some stuff that I'm learning and figuring out about that option, right? So there's more to come with this whole story. So you can use the body test throughout this process to really help guide you about which one, you know, to kind of go in with. And we have the 2 of Wands here, and we also have the card of sexuality, okay? So this is, you know, the sexuality card here without really having a lot of major other lover cards here, although certainly if you guys are looking to be involved in dating and partnerships, you got the explore your options and you got sexuality here. So part of the answer to your story might involve maybe a physical attraction feature or something there. Like maybe there's something where it's like, I just don't feel like I'm physically attracted to this person enough to pursue them in that way. That might be information you need. Or it's like a job, like are you passionate about that job? Remember that this is the sacral chakra, so this is about passion. So sometimes you can also let that passion be your guide about whether or not you should pursue it, because when we feel really good about something, it's usually an indicator that like, yes, there's enthusiasm there, there's momentum there. Follow that momentum, okay? And we do also have 2 of Wands. So this is like the very beginning of, you know, this enthusiasm, journeying energy, this prospecting energy. It's very much at the beginning. It's one step beyond the Ace of Wands, where you've had that initial spark of inspiration, and now you're kind of like literally, you know, exploring your options. So this is super explore your options here, but you're not quite at the stage of like 3 of Wands or certainly 4 of Wands, where you have a more clear path. And by the time we get to 4 of Wands, we have that ability to like start to put down some roots and celebrate about it, right? So you're not really there yet with it. You're in this very exploratory phase about this whole experience. Let me actually just kind of intuitively read from the guidebook with this card, because I love the guidebook with these cards. So it says, the sun rises, warming the earth. Flowers turn toward the golden orb, and drops of dew evaporate from foliage. The world is refreshed, ready to drink in the sprightly energy of the day. Like butterflies just released from cocoons, the bright Fae girls twirl and dance their joy. The rowan buds mirror their unfurling, as yet tender and green. They soon will be heavy with red berries. While they sense the potential within, they cannot imagine how it will manifest. So I'm just kind of intuitively scanning here. Through their play, these new souls discover themselves. As they discover what passions and actions please them, they begin to make choices about themselves and their lives based on their innate inner drive that is, as yet, unencumbered by intellect or expectations. They are twin flames, exploring, celebrating, and deciding. It says, this card marks the need for vision, for the application of determination, but first you must decide where to direct your gaze and invest your energy. In short, you must make a decision. Here's an opportunity to discover what you are meant to become. Identify your passion, and you've identified your choice. You'll know it by a sense of freshness, potential, and excitement. Okay, so just listening, because I may have to, I have to pause for one quick second to check on my dog, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. A little winded because I just ran quickly. So yeah, there is, I need to catch my breath. Give me one quick second. Okay. So for you pile 2 peeps, there is this need potentially to slow down, because that's what I'm going through in this moment. But there's also this need to like reconnect with your sense of play and your inner child, okay? So certainly pets, dogs, children, being around people and animals, that reminds you of that sense of play and enthusiasm and just like childlike wonder can, my dog Monty really agrees, can be really supportive for you right now to also understand the options you want to pursue, okay? And we do also have here Serendipity and Page of Cups. So the way that I'm interpreting this is that you're going to find that the right person, the right opportunity, the right things that align with you, it's almost going to feel like it was a perfect alignment, you know, that it's like really like got this almost like interesting and eerie sense of like, ooh, this is really meant for me, you know, and you're going to feel very excited about this emotional invitation because Page of Cups is always an offer. It's an emotional new beginning, but it's an interesting one. It's often hard for me to like really connect with Page of Cups because it's very Piscean and I'm like super Virgo, but it's just this sort of like emotional receptivity and this openness. You could see how she's very focused on that cup. So it's like she has this ability to understand that she is being provided for, that she's going to align with the right things that will provide for her needs. Let me actually just intuitively scan from the guidebook on that one as well. So it says this card represents someone who is fascinated by emotions and relationships. She is likely discovering a new level of intimacy in her life, either with someone else or with something dear to her, such as an artistic or creative project. All her energy and focus are there. She may seem lost in her own world, which given her new discovery is understandable. If you are able to draw her attention away, she will likely be eager to share her discovery with openness and enthusiasm. So yeah, I think that it's like through this experience of being more open, being more playful, you are also doing a lot of work here to like activate your inner child and to almost like dream and visualize what it is that you want and to be in this state where you can allow this sense of like, look at that star with the crown chakra, right? So for the downloads to come through, but also match with that fire, that passion energy here, okay? With the sexuality card, it's like, it's got to align with you on a spiritual level as well as like a soul-based fire passion kind of level, you know? So it could be very much so that the things you've been exploring before have not been in alignment with these different parts of you. They haven't clicked into place properly because they either like don't align with your mission or you're just like not passionate about them, and maybe you haven't been really honest with yourself that you're not passionate about them, but now you are getting to that place of honesty about it, okay? So Sagittarius also does represent the energy of playfulness. So I think that you need to maybe introduce some more playfulness into your thoughts and your mind about this whole thing that you're trying to manifest and kind of come together with, because there's been like a lot of disconnected energy here with you guys, with saying that you want it but then not maybe wanting it, and realize like, okay, maybe I'm not focused on what I actually want, so I need to like try to explore some new options here. But there's definitely this energy of playfulness, exploration, allowing yourself to connect with something on that fire, that passion level, as well as acceptance and that kind of flow state with the crown chakra, with the universe saying like, yes, go this way, okay? You might also want to listen to a bit with pile 1 because they had some strong messages about surrendering to the right timing. And as I said to them, I would encourage you to read that blog post that I wrote on spirit time and surrendering to the divine plan, okay? So if you like this reading, please give this a like, subscribe to my channel. I love, love, love when people drop supportive, positive comments in the comment section. So feel free to do so and let me know how you resonated with the reading, or even just how you found me. I love hearing from you guys about how you're resonating with the readings. That brings me so much joy, and it makes me want to come back and record more pick a card videos. So please, please, if you can do that. I also do have a donation link in the description box where you can donate. And of course, I do private readings in astrology as well as in cards, and then I have offerings where I combine the two. So you can check that out. And yeah, there's more information in the description box, so check that out. Much love, pile 2 peeps. Okay, pile 3 peeps. These are the cards for you. And it's funny because I got a little bit ungrounded from pile 2's energy. Not really because of them, but just because of stuff going on in my environment. And I had to pause and like pray to my guides to like help me ground. I was like, please ground me to do their reading for you guys. And I looked, this was the crystal that I had put with your pile. Okay, so this is my garnet, which is all about grounding. So pile 3 peeps, you may absolutely be needing to do some grounding right now. Okay, but let's see what we've got in the cards for you. It's interesting. So these two really want to come together. So I'm going to leave them together. And interestingly enough, pile 3 peeps, when I was recording the reading last night, yours was the one being the last one. Somehow that's the way life works, that you get to the end and then like somehow something goes wrong. But yours was the one where it cut out actually as I was in the middle of recording it. So I actually haven't had time to like fully, you know, talk about your reading. So this will be a little bit of a mixed bag of like, I've partially seen it before, but also I'll be channeling it kind of fresh. So I want to pick for you guys from my bits and bobs jar. Okay. Interesting. So you guys have 10th house, okay, which is a Capricorn ruled house. This is a house of public recognition and career and work, okay, responsibilities as well. And then we do also have Chiron. So there might be something here where there is this sense of feeling wounded in terms of either being overburdened by work and responsibilities, things that you have to do, and or feeling wounded about just your career in some type of way, okay? With dreams here, card number 3, this could absolutely be an energy of feeling like you're exhausted and that you need more time to like rest and nap. I'm really drawn also to the tiger that's there while she's sleeping. So it's like part of your message might be that it is safe for you to take time to slow things down and to ground your energy. You're being supported and protected by your guides and your angels during this time in which you do this slowdown. And, you know, newsflash, a Mercury retrograde can be a wonderful kind of like spiritual reason to like slow things down a little bit. It's not to say that you can't move forward with your life during a Merc retro, because to be honest, you should be. You should not be letting these things like completely interfere with you. But it does mean that you need to respect what the energy is trying to offer and provide, which is that if people aren't emailing you back right away, or like that person's not texting you back, you have to just surrender to the fact that like, okay, things are moving at a super fast speed right now. So I need to maybe slow myself down because I'm trying to push where the energy is not in alignment, so there's too much resistance there, you know. And this could be like with this 10th house Chiron vibe, is that you're used to being like very much a go-getter and putting in that work and that energy, you know. And where do you want me to go next, angels? You want me to go over here. And you want me to put these two together, which is different. So we have trader, exchange, not traitor, but trader, exchange energy to create abundance, okay? So it could be that instead of focusing on work that's like work for the sake of work, let's focus on work exchanges almost. Let's focus on, wow, I have this thing to give and you have this thing you could offer. How delightful and beautiful would that be to connect heart chakra to heart chakra and to exchange in our gifts and services with one another, right? I obviously have a spirituality business and this channel is part of that, but I also do a lot of partnerships with other, you know, small business owners that have spiritual products. And I love, love, love doing swaps because it's a wonderful way. And I wish more people would be open-minded to do swaps, because kind of going way back, it's almost like the Lemurian way of actually like exchanging money, right? But, you know, swaps give us the opportunity to get to know someone else's experience, products, or energy. And also for us to receive from them. It's still an exchange of energy. It's just that like money isn't involved, but it's still just as juicy and abundant, right? So this might be something that if you still do have that energy of like, I want to work, I want to be of service, where or with whom could you put your energy? You know, I'm hearing volunteering, or just like, is there a way that you could put your energy into things where there's an alignment where those people really need it, and or people that would consider doing an exchange or a swap with you, okay? Like I said at the beginning, I am selling 2 decks. So if you want to entertain a swap with me for those 2 decks, certainly feel free to email or message me about that. But yeah, so this is a very beautiful energy. I always love this card because it talks about that exchange of energy from the heart. And we do also have 7 of Wands here, okay, which 7 of Wands is feeling defensive. You know, you could see the way that the artist depicted it. It's like she has this kind of like tiara of like the thorns, right? So this is prickly energy, and she's looking up, like she's almost expecting something to like fall down on her. And it's also got kind of like very red vibes to it, right? So it's like feeling like angsty, like a little bit on edge, feeling defensive. So if you get yourself more into this energy where you're, even if it's not money or business related, but you're just exchanging things heart to heart, this gets you into that more beautiful, softer energy of love and exchange and potentially business or whatever it is, which I think will help soften you for maybe some of this energy, which is feeling kind of like that you have to be on your guard with people. I mean, maybe you've been very hurt in your workplace environment or with career in some type of way, because we have the Chiron here with the 10th house, which is about feeling wounded and having to learn lessons there. So through being wounded, we often do establish, you know, we put up walls and boundaries because we're afraid of being hurt again. And that can make us come across as very callous, jaded, or defensive when we're trying to explore new people. But these new people might be trying to approach you from like a pure place, but you're kind of in this defensive energy, and it's hard for you to see it as pure. So this is why doing taking some extra kind of breaks and taking more naps and some rest to kind of connect with that more, you know, spiritual, imaginative plane that is like that 12th house Piscean energy, as well as doing these exchanges, can really, really support you to trust in people again, to trust in the exchange of energy with people again, right? And I think that you guys are definitely working towards something that's like this better union, whether it's with a specific person, a job, a place, a thing, whatever it is, because we do have, oh, and there was a card that was hiding under that. Forgot about that one. We do have sacred sexuality and treasure chest. So there's absolutely this sense of union here, which is going to provide, I mean, these are 2 like superbly juicy cards, right? So there is this sense of like union and connection with the right divine people, places, and things that will open you to potentially like really open your heart chakra up, you know, because I'm kind of getting that vibe from this card with just like that green energy, like emanating out of the heart space. And also just like abundance, and abundance in more forms than just money, okay? And we do have the shadow dance card here, which I love this depiction of this card, because this is a card about, I mean, this is devil energy in the tarot, but you know, I love that each tarot deck, when it's not the traditional one, will have a unique way to interpret these different archetypes. So in this, you know, and it's funny because I don't want to jinx it, but the recording I think crashed right when I was talking about this guy. So, you know, like with this particular depiction, you can see that there's like this pair of lovers in the background, right? And he's there like, we all know what's up. We all know what's going down, you know, and in the guidebook, it talks about how he has this energy of like, he's seen it all, he's done it all, you know, he knows things, but equally he knows that we also do deserve to receive pleasure, and that sensuality is a part of life, you know. It's just so there's nothing wrong with that sensuality or that pleasure or like wanting what you want, okay? We just have to watch for being like, you know, it's kind of like having a piece of gum and like chewing on it for so long that it loses its flavor and you're still chewing it. It's like, we do have to watch for like overusing or misusing things, okay? So is there something here where you're overusing boundaries in your people interactions, you know, where you're like too defensive, you know, or is it that you're denying yourself pleasure, by saying like, okay, well, you know, I've been hurt so many times, so I've got to just surrender and accept the next person that comes along that's going to give me what I want, that doesn't hurt or abuse me. No, no, no. This is saying like you deserve sacred sexuality and treasure chest energy. You do deserve pleasure, okay? If we didn't have pleasure in life, like we wouldn't have creation, right? Creation and pleasure do go hand in hand, and manifesting should be a pleasurable thing. So I think that you're maybe learning that this manifestation that you want to birth, whether it be with more abundance, more money, more clarity with career, or you know, even like for some of you, this could even be about starting a family, because the 10th house is on the same axis as the house of the 4th house, which is the house of Cancer. So there's something here that you do want, but it's like you're needing to work through these old wounds, okay? And this defensiveness that comes as a consequence of experiencing those wounds. So I think that the kind of interesting way to get around that is to practice giving and receiving energy through other forms, right? So doing swaps. Absolutely, if you're not in a place where you're receptive for this, or maybe you're saying like, yes, I'm receptive for this, but maybe you've got this going on subconsciously, you can work on giving and receiving energy, other forms of love, right? Like with pets, with friends, with other forms of heart-to-heart exchanges and energy. And with this, you know, Saturn in Aquarius energy that we're in, Jupiter will be back in Aquarius in a couple of months' time. This is a lot about restructuring with friend groups, spending time with friends, honoring your friendships, okay? So there is a lot of value there for you to connect with others and do so in a way where you can explore this and see like, wow, I can be, it's safe for me to be seen. I can actually play in this energy and I can be safe. I can attract the right people now, you know, that won't hurt me. Maybe you've had things in the past where you did say, yes, I want that. I want that person, or I want that job. And it was like you were very consumed by the desire of wanting that, but somehow it didn't work out for you and it wounded you instead. So then it's like you've shut down this ability to receive pleasure from new things that could come after you've worked through that lesson, you know? We do have here Shield Maiden, make plans and focus, okay? So this could be too, it's like, let's get grounded, right? Let's get grounded. Let's get focused on what we can do to kind of cut out that older toxic energy that could be blocking you from moving forward. Let's find this plan that we want to work. Let's align with it and let's work towards it. And I do think that there's people that want to help you and kind of do energy exchanges with you along the way, which is going to really support you in that plan. But I think for the most part, pile 3 peeps, your message is a lot about a lot of healing energy here, and almost like this combination of like, you know, deservingness, and that like you do deserve to receive the things that you want. So don't suppress your desires and your need to have pleasure. Don't like completely suppress that part of yourself, right? But equally, if you have like overindulged in your past, whether it be overspending or, you know, being overly attached to a specific someone or whatever it was, I get the sense that it's like you learned that lesson now where you were overly attached, almost like addicted to that thing or that person or whatever it was. You've experienced that kind of karmic energy, those wounds with the 10th house that Saturn rules. So you have experienced those lessons there. And it's almost like that chapter is now, that lesson that was meant to be learned as a result of that chapter of your life is closed now. Now, actually, your work is on understanding how to open up to your dreams in a safe way that actually allows more of this harmonious, balanced giving and receiving energy, and really doing what you can to soften the defensiveness you might feel as a result of maybe those past things that you've gone through, which will always be a part of you, okay? I can really relate to this pile. They'll always be a part of you, and they will become part of your learned experience. So they're always going to be there. But it's just a matter of like, yes, I do have this kind of trigger, right, when it comes to this thing, but equally I recognize that for every memory that I can recall about that person, place, or thing where it went so bad, I'm now training myself to also look for good memories of this person, this new person, place, or thing that I want to explore. So it's a bit of like retraining your mind here. Like, just because I have had that doesn't mean that all the others that follow after it will be that. You can get this kind of vibe instead. So training yourself that like the defensiveness will come up. It's just part of it, right? But training yourself, when do you need to be on your guard or versus when do you not? And understanding that balance of like how to soften it, okay? So that's what I have for you, pile 3 peeps. And I am sending you so much love and light. Please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel. In the comments, drop me a comment. Let me know how you resonated with this pile. I love, love, love positive, supportive comments being left on the videos. It's one of the things that gets me coming back to want to record more pick a card videos. And I, of course, encourage people to sign up for my email newsletter. You can leave a donation if you'd like. The link to my PayPal is in the description box. And do also do private readings in cards as well as in astrology, and then I have combined versions of cards and astro in some of my offerings. So you're welcome to check that out on my Etsy as well as on my website. And yeah, that's what I have for you guys. So I am sending you so much love and light and a very happy full moon in Sagittarius cycle, and I look forward to seeing you guys. Fingers crossed that it does work with all these retro vibes in the next new / full moon. Much love.